Matters Blue Economy and a conversation with Dr. Sweenarain Soobaschand, a fisheries economist and team leader at EU-funded Ecofish program for the Eastern Africa, Southern Africa and Indian Ocean region. Thank you so much, Dr. Soobaschand, for making time for us. In a nutshell, by way of introduction, what is the Ecofish program?
Thank you for having me. Ecofish program is a cross-regional initiative funded by the 11th EDF that works with the regional economic fisheries and environmental organization to foster sustainable management of inland and marine fisheries in the EA, East Africa, Southern Africa, and Indian Ocean region. It is promoted by the European delegation Mauritius and implemented by the Indian Ocean Commission in collaboration with several regional organizations of the region.
Great. Now, and how significant is the fisheries sector, especially in the regions of Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, and Indian Ocean region, in terms of economic and social contribution to their countries?
Well, it's very important in the sense that, all these countries are either ocean states or coastal states, which are dependent on the marine fisheries and also other resources for the development of the economy, also for the livelihood and well-being of the population.
Dr. Sunil, I understand there is an ongoing workshop right here in Nairobi, Kenya, bringing regional fisheries stakeholders together, to set the foundation for a regional blue economy statistical database. First of all, what is this, and of what significance will it be to the whole, Kenyan blue economy conversation?
Yeah, let us first of all talk about the blue economy. It's a macroeconomic concept that want to unleash the development potential of the marine and marine-related industries for the contribution of the transformation of the socio-economic transformation of the African continent, right? It is also called as the renaissance of economic development of the region, keeping in mind the huge potential for sustainable economic growth. So the blue economy, well, I think very logically, you can manage what you can measure. So if you don't have proper data, information, how could we inform policy and planning? So the whole thing about the blue economy fisheries satellite account is to provide evidence-based information to policymakers so that they can drive policies and also monitor the progress on the ground.
Right, and in terms of policy and institutional governance, are regional governments doing enough to support sustainable and profitable marine fisheries? Because this is quite an economic activity, especially for the western part of Kenya and the coast as well. But institutionally, how are governments treating this?
Well, I think it is very important. I think everybody agree that without information, the right information, though we can see, we are in the dark. We can't really implement policies and also monitor those policies. And those policies are related to the Sustainable Development Goals, which means that no poverty, no hunger, and nobody is left behind. I think this is really the modus operandi of providing, information, knowledge, to policymakers and stakeholders so that the right decision could be taken, so that the progress could be seen on the ground.
And, on paper, things are different as well as on the ground. But, regional monitoring, control and surveillance of fisheries activities is said to be crucial in the management of fisheries and the sector. Do countries, especially within the regions that we've talked about, have enough capacity to do this?
We are building capacities. Capacity building is an ongoing process. Obviously, I think that we should also discriminate the fishery into two major sectors. We're talking about small-scale fisheries and the industrial fisheries. And though they are fisheries, but they're having different perspective, you see. Our small-scale fisheries today brings a lot of economic contribution in terms of food security, employment, also cultural diversity to our people, And unfortunately, these sectors are still open access, And I would say we are actually facing what we call the tragedy of the common, or the prisoner's dilemma. We need more focus so that we can bring it, to integrate it to the national economy, to the mainstream, so that it could be managed as an economically viable and sustainable sector. Well, talking of MCS in the industrial fisheries around the issue, we're fishing in deep waters, where you have got foreign vessels also, maybe they're doing some EUU, IUU, that is illegal, unreported, and regulated fisheries. So this is another thing. I think that we're building capacity, the regional mechanism which is working on that to improve our capabilities to manage our natural wealth. But regarding the small-scale fisheries, there's much more to be done, because there I think that we have to leverage as to the social behavior, the social capital of the people, what I call re-engineering of the human behavior, so that we can manage our resources more effectively.
Yeah, Dr. Ari, how important is it for the countries in these regions to collaborate on matters blue economy, and perhaps are they receiving sufficient funding in order to set up sustainable infrastructure?
I'm talking of fisheries because the fisheries project, but blue economy is a much, is a multi-industrial, sector that comprises many, activities. Regarding the fisheries, I think it is very important for us to manage it effectively. It is important, though it is not reflected in the national account. That is the whole issue. That is why we're developing new mechanism to measure it more, closely. So in terms of food security, in terms of livelihood, I think that fisheries is equivalent to the rural or the agrarian economy. So a lot of people are dependent on this sector and this industry, though it is not fully reflected in the national economy. You can't imagine that. The importance is so huge, whether it is inland fisheries or marine fisheries. It is, I should say, so important that I should say it's really the survival kit for the local population today. So it's so important, and we need to put in efforts, because due to the climate change and other issues, also I should say COVID-19 has been an eye-opener, and I think that this also helped to build our resilience, our capabilities to face difficult situations. So I think first thing first, we have to look at our primary industries to consolidate our capabilities to grow our economy.
Indeed, pertinent issues raised there, Dr. And even as we bring this conversation to a close, what would be perhaps some of the outcomes from the ongoing fisheries satellite account workshop currently ongoing?
Well, this, is a tool. We are developing a macroeconomic tool because it is important to have this tool so that we can inform the evidence-based policy making. Otherwise, the rule of thumb, we are managing our fisheries by philosophy and doctrines, and this cannot work for long in a complex situation. Today, we're not talking about political economy, but economic management. So this information, this toolkit that helps us to bring up the right information indicators is crucial, I should say. I mean, it is going to contribute a lot to our policymakers to make the right decision, to mobilize investment, and also it helps some critical analysis, so that we can really use it as a tool for economic management. I think the country,
Yeah, very briefly then, do you think that, as a country and as a region, the three regions we are talking about, we shall be able to achieve blue economy as it is, even as we talk about sustainable fishing and all other issues surrounding blue economy?
In fact, in terms of percentage, the developing countries, especially the vulnerable countries, are more dependent on primary sectors like fisheries, agriculture, animal husbandry, etc. So it is very important. The countries that are supposed to benefit from the Ecofish program, marine fisheries, component, are 12 countries in the Eastern Africa, coastal island, and also actually some landlocked countries that obviously will have this spillover effect. So this country, you could say, start from Mozambique up to Sudan, taking into consideration also the island states of the Indian Ocean. So all these countries at a different level, they're all dependent on the fisheries. Look at, for example, Seychelles, Mauritius, the ocean states, like Comoros and Madagascar, they have more dependency, they have more reliance on the ocean activities, including fisheries. In fact, the fisheries sector plays a more prominent role in this economy. For the Eastern African countries, though we are focused on the island fish, the marine fisheries, the inland fisheries play also a very important role. So I think most importantly, we have to adopt a whole of the sector approach to unleash the full development potential. I mean, it should be in an indiscriminate way to make sure that we are using every resources we have, we are managing it well, and this resources is contributing for the socio-economic and ecological development of our region.
Great indeed, and we look forward to the outcomes of the Fisheries Satellite Account Workshop. I've been speaking to Dr. Sweenarain Soobaschand, an expert and an economist and team leader at EU-funded Ecofish program for the Eastern Africa, Southern Africa and Indian Ocean region. Thank you so much, Dr. for speaking to us. Away from that, as a Kenyan friends, spices and herbs are dubbed to be of great source of dietary supplements and taste enhancer to our delicacies. This has spurred their demand,